and welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is your teacher Aubrey, nagbabalik on your screen as teacher. Okay, so for today's video, meron na naman tayong bagong lesson and kung mapapansin nyo, bago rin yung background ko. Plain lang ngayon sis kasi nag-aayos pa ako at gusto ko rin mabago yung background ko, diba? Nakakasawa naman kung palaging ganun din naman. I will vlog again another for that on how to organize room because marami sa inyo ang nagre-request. Quick room tour daw, pero hindi ako confident guys. Ayusin ko muna. Next vlog, abangan nyo na lang. At by the way, habang ako ay nagtitaping, may tumawag sa akin, Bes, kahit puti, ag-milk tea, tag-milk tea, gaston. Kulakmet, ala sis, madi, itik out na lahat ka din. Madama vlog her, garner. Nagar ka niya, feeling. Okay, so, iyon. At salamat sa'yo, Marshall Ann at Janelle, sa pagbigay sa akin ng milk tea at I enjoy sa paglibre. Back. Hindi ko na papatagalin tong intro to kasi yung lesson nito ay on the operations on rational numbers, yung decimal at fraction. Medyo marami-rami to, kaya tara na. Keep on watching till the end of this video for more bonus questions. Bonus answer. Okay, good morning everyone. This is now my PowerPoint presentation on the operations on rational numbers. We are now in Module 6. So, our module of the week is this one. Dapat ada kastoy bing. Kastoy dapat tay module yo. Tap nun makasurot kayo, ken tap na ada bonus questions yo. Okay, so for our objectives, after going through this module, you are expected to add and subtract fractions, add and subtract decimals, multiply and divide fractions, multiply and divide decimals. But in my PowerPoint presentation, uunahin ko muna yung lahat ng fractions at isusunod ko yung mga decimals. Okay, so let's start. Meron pa pala. Solving real-life problems involving rational numbers. Alam naman na natin yan. So, let's focus on the basic muna. Rational number. Ano nga ba ang rational number? For us to know what is a rational number, in mathematics, a rational number is a number that can be expressed as the quotient or fraction P over Q of two integers, a numerator P and a non-zero denominator Q. Okay, so since we are talking of fraction in here, it is written as this one, hindi yung paganon. Wait lang, i-laser ko lang. Okay. Hindi yung pa-slant na ganon. That is not the proper way of writing fraction. But instead, it is a bar between two integers that are written vertically. So, just like this one, P over Q or P bar Q, where P is any integer and Q can be also any integer except 0. Bakit hindi dapat 0? Take note, if 0 is the numerator and the denominator is any number, that is equivalent or equal to 0. But if the denominator is 0, it will become undefined. That is the common mistake of many solutions in mathematics because they do not know the difference of 0 divided by x and x divided by 0. But in here, if you divide a number by 0, it will always be equal to undefined, not 0. For example, 0 divided by 5, your answer is 0 kasi nauna yung 0. But if you divide 5 by 0, undefined. Hindi yan 0, but it is undefined. Take note of that. Also, rational numbers can be fraction or decimal. Okay. In our previous lesson, we discussed how to change fraction to decimal and decimal to fraction. Therefore, fraction and decimal are the same rational numbers. So let's focus on the two, fraction and decimal. But this time, let's recall similar fractions, dissimilar fractions, and mixed numbers. When we say similar fractions, these are the fractions that have the same denominators. For example, is 4 over 5 and 1/5. Agpadada or pareho sila na may 5 na denominator. While the similar fractions, these are fractions that have different denominators. Wherein, ito'y example, we have 4 divided by 5 or 4 over 5 and 11 over 13. And 5 and 13 are not the same and they are different, so they are dissimilar fractions. Also, when we say mixed numbers, these are the quantities that have a whole number part and a fraction part. Example is 1 and 1/2 and 4 and 1/5. In here, 4 is the whole number and 1/5 is the fraction. Okay, so let's now proceed to our main topic, which is on the operations on rational numbers. In here, we are going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, decimal, and fraction. But first, let's proceed to fractions. In adding fraction, we have different rules in terms of similar fractions and dissimilar fractions and mixed number. But unahin muna natin yung similar fraction. When we add similar fraction, add the numerators and copy the common denominator. But since you are already in your grade 7 and we are done with integers, expect that some of my examples in here have a negative sign. Okay, example number 1. 1/5 plus 3/5 equals 4/5. That is very simple because if you take a look at the denominator, they are the same. So 5, just copy the common denominator and add the numerators. 1 plus 3 equals 5. The next example is 5 over 8 plus 3 over 8. And since they are already similar fractions, copy the common denominator and add the numerator. So you have 8 over 8. And that is equal to 1. If you simplify, take note, simplify your answer because walang masama kung mag-simplify tayo. Okay, again, another example in here is 9 over 10 plus 7 over 10. We know that the sum of this is 16 over 10, and if we are going to simplify that, it will become 8 over 5. Why? Because you have to divide both sides by their GCF, which is 2, so that 16 divided by 2, you have 8, and 10 divided by 2, you have 5. And you're going to see, in other books, by the way, they just accept improper fractions, like this one, improper, but because the numerator is greater than the denominator. Or they use it in mixed number and it is equivalent to 1 and 3/5. Another example is this one. 1/5 plus negative 3 over 2 equals, okay, negative 2 over 5 because 1 plus negative 3, that's negative 2. Or you can write that as negative 2/5. Yung negative, kahit nasa taas or nasa baba, yung answer ay nandito as long as positive yung isa. Take note, ito negative, yung isa positive. As long as may isang negative lang sa kanila, yung negative, ilagay na lang dito. Ihiwalay. Pero wag i-connect sa bar. Ganito ang gawin ninyo. Okay, let's have another example. Negative 5 over 8 plus 3 over 8, that is equal to negative 2 over 8. And using simplification, by dividing both sides by their GCF, which is 2, negative 2 times divided by 2, that's negative 1, and 8 divided by 2 equals 4, or negative 1/4. Last example, for similar fractions, we have 16 over 9 plus negative 6 over 9. We know that they have the same denominator, so let's just copy the common denominator and add the numerators. 16 plus negative 6, you have 10. Or, in mixed number, you have 1 and 1/9. Gets? Okay, so let's proceed to the next examples. Dissimilar fractions this time. If we add dissimilar fractions, get the LCM and rewrite as similar fractions, and then add the numerators and copy the denominator. Okay, so example number 1, 1/5 plus 3/4. We know that they do not have the same denominator, so let's rewrite it as similar fractions by getting their LCM, and we know that the LCM of 1/5 and 3/4, or the LCD of 1/5 and 3/4 is over 20, or the LCM of 4 and 5 is 20. And rewrite that by doing this method. 20 divided by 5, we have 4 times 1. So, ang ilalagay natin dito is 4. On the other fraction, 20 divided by 4, we have 5 times 3. Ang ilalagay naman natin dito is 15. Yan. And then, since they are already similar fractions, nabubulol si ma'am. Okay, just add the numerator and copy the common denominator, and you have 19 over 20. Next example, we have 2/5 plus 7/10. Since they do not have the same denominator, get the LCM of 5 and 10 so that we can write it as this one. Kunin muna natin yung mga numerators niya. By dividing 10 by 5, you have 2 times 2. Ang ilalagay na natin dito is 4. 10 divided by 10 is 7. 10 times 7, 7. Or kung hindi nagbago yung denominator ng isa, just copy 7. And it is now equal to 11 over 10. Or in mixed number, we have 1 and 1/10. 1 and 1 over 10. You can read it as that one. Okay, now mixed numbers. I have a technique on how to add mixed numbers, but take note, do not be confused. In this part now, since we know that mixed numbers are composed of a whole number and fraction part. So separate the numbers and the whole numbers and the fraction. So in this side, numbers or whole numbers, this side is the fraction. So the whole number in here are 9 and 3. And we know that 9 plus 3, since plus DJ, ananad Jane, 9 plus 3, you have 12. We are done with that part. Let's proceed to the fractional part. 5 over 7 plus 2 over 7. They are similar fractions, so your answer is 7 over 7 or 1. And then combine 12 and 1, and you have 13. Now the sum of 9 and 5 over 7 plus 3 and 2 over 7 is 13. Gets? Okay, so let's have another example. This time, my negative. Paano naman kung ganyan? Okay. So again, separate the whole number and the fraction. So 2 plus 0. 0 yung nilagay ko kasi walang whole number dito. Just fraction lang siya. So 2 plus 0 is 2. And then 5 over 12 plus negative 1/3. By getting the LCM of 12 and 3 is 12, rewrite that as similar fractions now. 12 divided by 12 is 5, and 12 divided by 3 is 4 times negative 1, that's negative 4. And then combine the numerators, then copy the denominator. You have 5 plus negative 4 is 1, and then copy 12. Then combine now, you have 2 and 1 over 12. Therefore, 2 and 5 over 12 plus negative 1/3 equals 2 and 1 over 12. Gets nyo? Did answer na. Gets nyo? Okay, let's proceed to subtraction. When subtracting fractions, take note of the keep, change rules because we are done with the integers and the operations on integers. So when we say subtraction, we have to keep in mind the keep, change rule. Learn. Example number 1. 4 over 5 minus 3 over 5 equals 1 over 5. Simple. Just subtract the numerators and copy the common denominator. Also, 5 over 8 minus 3 over 8 is equal to 2 over 8. And we are going to simplify that by dividing both sides by their GCF, which is 2. So that 2 divided by 2 is 1 and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Therefore, your answer is 1/4. Another example is when you have 9 over 10 minus 7 over 10. And that is equal to 2 over 10. Kasi, subtract mo lang yung numerators niya, 9 minus 7, 2, and then copy the common denominator, which is 10. And if you're going to simplify that again, by dividing their GCF to both sides, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 10 divided by 2 is 5, and your answer now is 1/5. Another example is when you have 1/5 minus negative 3/5. Take note, we are dealing with signs now dito in a part because we have a negative number here. Proceed with the keep, change change. So, magiging 1 plus positive 3, that's 4, and then copy the common denominator. Gets? Another example, negative 5 over 8 minus 3 over 8 equals negative 8 over 8. Or, why did we get that part? Because we have to keep the first part. We have to change the operation to plus or addition, and then change this one to negative. Busog ako. Negative 3. So you have negative 5 plus negative 3, you have negative 8. And then copy the common denominator, which is 8. And divide both sides again by their GCF, which is 8. So that negative 8 divided by 8 is negative 1. And 8 divided by 8 is positive 1, or simply negative 1. Another example is when you have 16 over 9 minus negative 6 over 9. And that is equal to 22 over 9. Bakit? Kasi again, you have to do the keep, change, change. So that you have 16 plus positive 6 to have 22. And 22 over 9 is equivalent to 2 and 4/9 in mixed number form. Okay, proceed to the similar fraction. The similar fractions, this one, get the LCM and rewrite as similar fractions, then subtract the numerators and copy the common denominators. Okay, so example number 1, 1/5 minus 3/4, and that is equal to, again, we are done with that, and we know that it can be written as this one. And you have 4 minus 15, negative 11 over 20, and that is now the answer. We cannot simplify that kasi yan lang talaga. Huwag mong ipilit na i-simplify kung ganyan na talaga, sis. Okay. Or you can have it as negative 11 over 20. Another example is when you have 2 over 5 minus 7 over 10, and we know that the LCM of 5 and 10 is 10, and we can rewrite this as 4 10 minus 7 tenths, or 4 over 10 minus 7 over 10. That is equal to 4 minus 7, negative 3 over 10, or yan. I-write mo lang. Next is the mixed numbers. Again, just like addition, separate the whole number and the fraction. But this time, since subtraction yung operation natin, subtract naman ngayon. And then again, just combine the two so that your answer is 6 and 3 over 7. Another example is this one. Again, separate the whole numbers, that one, and the fraction part. Okay, simplify. Have 3/4 and combine them so that your answer now is 2 and 3/4. Ganun. Now, let's proceed to multiplication. Multiplying fractions are just simple because you just multiply the numerator and numerator over denominator and denominator. Example is when you have 1/5 times negative 3/4. Multiply that, you have 1 times 3, you have 3, and 5 times 4, you have 20. And do not forget the sign. They do not have the same sign. Positive yung isa, negative yung isa, so your answer is negative. Also, remember the rule in multiplication of integers. Ito, nandito yung vlog ko na ganon. Balikan mo balikan mo pag hindi mo nakita or hindi mo napanood, sis. Okay. If we also have 5 negative 5 times negative 3/5. We know that any whole number or any integer, the denominator is always 1. So you have that 1 now, negative 5/1 times negative 3/4. And you have positive 15/4, or in fraction, a mixed number, that's 3 and 3/4. Again, another example is this one. If we have a mixed number, change that first to improper fraction. For example, this one. Api nga nagbalik nga 23/4 because 4 times 5, that's 20, plus 3, 23. And you can write 23 here and then copy the denominator, which is 4. On the other hand, 3 times 6, that's 18, plus 2, that's 20, and then copy the denominator, which is 3. Kaya naging ganito. And then proceed to the multiplication, and your answer na, may i-cancel ka pa pala dyan. Cancel muna para hindi ka mahirapan. Ang cancellation lang ay pwedeng pa-diagonal, pa-ganon, or pa-ganito. Agbatog, or agpa-diagonal, but they can never be aligned horizontally. No. Nga to baba, asya lang. And simplifying that one by dividing both by their GCF, which is 4, and 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. And now, since we are already done with simplification, do the multiplication and you have that one. Or if you want to write that as mixed number, that's the answer. Okay, dividing fractions, change divide to times or multiplication, then get the reciprocal of the divisor, then proceed to multiplication. Okay, example this one. You keep 1/5, you divide, you change division to multiplication, and then get the reciprocal. Take note, the negative sign does not affect the reciprocation and root ganun. DJ lang tag value, and then proceed to multiplication. So your answer is that one, negative 4/15. Okay, another example. If you have 9/16 divided by 3/4, you have to change this to multiplication and then get the reciprocal of 3/4, which is 4/3, and then if you are to simplify that one, that's 3 and that is 1, and then simplify also, then 3 times 1 you have 3, and 4 times 1 you have 4, so your answer is 3/4. Another is when you have a mixed number. If you have a mixed number, change that first to improper fraction, and then proceed with the keep change, that one, get the reciprocal, divide becomes times, and then that's now the answer. You cannot simplify that anymore kasi that is the simplified form. We cannot cancel in this part kasi 4 and 20 are horizontally aligned, and it cannot be simplified, or cancelled. So that's now the answer. Let's proceed now to decimals. Again, we have to add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals. In adding decimal, just align the decimal point also in the answer. Tignan mo muna kung magkakalinya. Dapat magkakalinya, then proceed to addition, so that 1.85 plus 0.86, that's equal to Unahin muna natin dito sa part na ito. Sa right. So 5 plus 6, we have 11. So write 1 there and then carry 1. Then 1 plus 8 plus 8, that's 17. Write 7 in here, then carry 1. 1 plus 1, you have 2. Let's have another example. We have 654 plus 0.1 plus 32.95. Take note, you have to align the decimal point. But since we do not have a number in here, assume it as 0. So that 0 plus 5 is 5, or simply bring down 5. And then 1 plus 9, you have 10. 0, carry 1. 1 plus 4 plus 3, you have 7. 5 plus 3, you have 8. And 6 plus 0, or just bring down 0, that is 6, just write 6. So your answer is 697.05. Let's have another example on subtractions. Again, just do the keep change if there are negative signs that you encounter, but if there are none, just proceed with the usual subtraction. So let's have 35.33 minus 7.58, and that's equal to 3 minus 8 is cannot be, so let's borrow 10 to the next place value, and this becomes 13, and this becomes 2. So that 13 divided by 13 minus 8 is 5, and proceed to the next. 2 over 5 cannot be again, so again borrow 10 to the next place value, and that's 12 now. Cannot be again, so let's borrow again another 10 to the other place value, so that's you have 14. 14 minus 7 is 7, and then bring down 2, that's 27.75. Again, in multiplication, just multiply as usual. Do the basic that you know in multiplying numbers, but this time if we are dealing with decimal, just count the place value of the decimal point. Take note, ito you have 1, then ito you have 2, so all in all we have 1, 2, 3, so we have to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3. So your answer now is this one. 3 decimal places. Just read the example in here. And then in dividing decimals, okay, this one. If the divisor is a whole number, divide the dividend by the divisor, applying the rules of a whole number. The position of the decimal point is the same as that in the dividend. Take note, we align the decimal points in here. Aligned. And then proceed to the usual division, that one now. And that's the answer. The decimal place is what matters in here, but the rule is just the same as when you divide whole numbers. Another example is if the divisor is not a whole number, make the divisor a whole number by moving the decimal point on the divisor to the rightmost end, making the number seem like a whole number. Okay, ito, 1.5. Gawin nating 15. Tanggalin natin yung mga decimal. So, i-move natin yung decimal dito pag ganon. So that yung new decimal point is nandito, or just simply 15. And also, if we move a decimal place in here, move again another in the dividend para pantay, di ba? Hindi pwedeng sa kabila lang, dapat pantay. So, kung ilan yung pinag-movean ng decimal dito, ganun din sa dividend. So, you have this one. Kaya naging ganito yung solution. Then proceed with the usual division, and that is now the answer to the problem. If you want more examples, just read the modules that I have given to you. Now it's your turn. Open your modules and do the activities assigned to you by your teacher. And thank you for watching. God bless you. Bye-bye.
So that ends our lesson for today, and thank you for watching. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click the notification bell below for more updates and more videos. This is your teacher Aubrey, now signing off. Bye-bye!